My dear readers, listeners, and of course, friends, it is with a sense of irony and no small measure of fascination that I turn my attention to the peculiar intersection of theology and textile art in 9th century Central Asia. The influence of Manichaean thought on the decorative motifs of Uighur rugs during this period is a topic that, at first glance, may seem as esoteric as it is obscure. And yet, upon closer examination, it reveals a great deal about the complex interplay of religion, culture, and aesthetics in a region that has long been a crossroads of civilizations. Manichaeism, for those unfamiliar with this ancient and long-extinct religion, was a dualistic faith that emerged in the 3rd century AD and spread across the Silk Road from the Mediterranean to China. Founded by the prophet Mani, it posited a cosmic struggle between the forces of light and darkness, and sought to synthesize elements of Christianity, Buddhism, and Zoroastrianism into a single unified creed. It was, in essence, an early attempt at a kind of ecumenical universalism, albeit one that ultimately failed to take root in the face of fierce opposition from more established religions. And yet, for a brief period in the 9th century, Manichaeism found a foothold among the Uyghurs, a Turkic people who ruled over a vast empire stretching from the Caspian Sea to the Gobi Desert. The Uighur Khagan, or ruler, converted to Manichaeism in the year 762 AD, and for several decades thereafter the religion enjoyed a period of official patronage and cultural efflorescence. It was during this time that Manichaean theology began to exert a subtle but pervasive influence on the decorative arts of the Uighur people, particularly in the realm of textile production. Uighur rugs, which had previously been characterized by geometric patterns and stylized animal motifs, began to incorporate new and more complex designs that reflected Manichaean cosmology and symbolism. One of the most striking examples of this can be seen in the emergence of the so-called Manichaean tree of life motif, which features a central tree flanked by 2 deer or other animals, often surrounded by a border of stylized leaves and flowers. This design, which bears a striking resemblance to the sacred tree motif found in Assyrian and Persian art, was imbued with deep theological significance in Manichaean thought. According to Manichaean doctrine, the tree of life represented the cosmic struggle between light and darkness, with the deer symbolizing the forces of good and the leaves and flowers representing the divine light that suffused the universe. By incorporating this motif into their rugs, Uighur artisans were not merely creating decorative objects, but were engaging in a form of religious expression and devotional practice. Other Manichaean motifs that began to appear in Uighur rugs during this period include the so-called Manichaean cross, a 4-armed symbol that represented the 4 elements of earth, water, fire, and air, and the Manichaean lotus, a stylized flower that symbolized spiritual purity and enlightenment. These motifs, along with the tree of life, formed a kind of iconographic vocabulary that allowed Uighur artisans to express complex theological ideas through the medium of textile art. Of course, as with any religious iconography, the meaning and significance of these motifs was not always clear-cut or universally agreed upon. Scholars such as Hans-Joachim Klimkeit and Zsuzsanna Gulaci have argued that the interpretation of Manichaean symbolism in Uighur art was often shaped by local cultural and artistic traditions, and that the same motif could take on different meanings in different contexts. Moreover, it is important to note that the influence of Manichaeism on Uighur rug design was relatively short-lived, and that by the end of the 9th century the religion had largely been supplanted by Buddhism and Islam in the region. Nevertheless, the legacy of this brief but fascinating period of cultural and artistic exchange can still be seen in the rugs and textiles produced by Uighur artisans to this day, many of which bear the unmistakable imprint of Manichaean thought and symbolism. In the end, the influence of Manichaean theology on the decorative motifs of Uighur rugs in the 9th century is a reminder of the complex and often surprising ways in which religion, culture, and art intersect and intertwine throughout history. It is a testament to the enduring power of ideas and symbols to shape the material world, even in the most unlikely of contexts. And while Manichaeism itself may have long since faded into the mists of history, its legacy lives on in the intricate patterns and designs of Uighur rugs, which continue to captivate and inspire us to this day. So let us take a moment to appreciate this small but significant chapter in the vast tapestry of human civilization. and to marvel at the strange and wondrous ways in which the threads of theology and textile art can sometimes interweave to create something truly beautiful and enduring.